This happened when I was very young. I've since confirmed the details with 2 relatives who were present that day, though I am the only one who experienced the event firsthand. For my cousin's 11th birthday, we all went to Skyleap Trampoline Park. Have you ever been to one of those places? It's usually a massive, high-ceilinged warehouse filled with rows and rows of trampolines stretching across the entire length of the building. In more reputable ones, there's a safety net around the edges so kids don't fly off and crack their heads. Skyleap had safety nets. They had other things too. An arcade, a cafeteria, laser tag, Dance Dance Revolution pads, the works. The whole place had an outer space theme, I remember. Ever since I'd seen a NASA documentary on the Discovery Channel, I had become obsessed with the idea of space travel. Safe to say, I was in heaven. Mannequins in astronaut suits hung from the ceilings on cables. Airbrushed blacklight murals of planets and little green aliens in flying saucers decorated every wall. A massive neon sign over the entryway would periodically flicker to life, reading, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," while a heroic-sounding voice delivered the quote from a nearby speaker. This park also had a foam pit. It was off in a secluded corner of the trampoline area. There was a lime green launch pad area so you could really get a head start before bouncing in and landing in a giant pile of squishy foam bricks. I was not the most adventurous kid. Jane and Eliza, my twin cousins, were 2 years older than me. I was always trying to prove I could be as brave as they were. When we approached the foam pit, the 2 of them leapt in right away, giggling amongst themselves. I hung back, unsure. As I stood at the start of the launch pad, considering my options, I noticed tiny words scrawled onto the wall beside me in white paint pen. They read, "Rules for the Nothing Zone. 1. Do not close your eyes. 2. Do not scream. 3. If it finds you, let it in." I squinted for a moment, trying to comprehend it. What was the Nothing Zone? "What's taking you so long, Jules?" Eliza yelled from the pit. "Are you scared?" teased Jane. I frowned and shook my head, readying myself to jump in. I sprinted forward, blood rushing in my ears. When I reached the bouncy edge of the launch pad, I tried to spring as hard as I could, so as to make the most impressive arc. I scrunched my eyes closed. And then I was airborne. My stomach flopped and a scream escaped as I failed mid-air, suddenly giddy and terrified and out of control. I did not come down. My limbs were weightless, stretched out, sort of like when I let myself float in the pool. Head back, muscles relaxed, my whole body felt buoyant. I imagined this was what it was like to be a balloon, thinking of a rainbow cluster tied to the party table in the cafeteria. Once, I'd gotten a helium balloon for my own birthday. It was one of those fancy metallic ones you get pre-inflated from the supermarket, predictably shaped like a little astronaut. In my eagerness to bring it home, I tripped and fallen in the parking lot, scraping my knees. By the time I noticed the string had left my hand, my astronaut was 30 feet in the air and ascending up and up, until it was a tiny speck against the cloudless blue sky. When I opened my eyes, I didn't see Jane or Eliza or the foam pit. I saw nothing. A blank white expanse stretched out as far as I could see. I tried to turn my body, but I found that I could only twist my head and shoulders a few degrees in either direction. I kicked my feet and arms, but with nothing to hang on to, I only succeeded in wiggling in place. Frustrated, I tried again. By trial and error, I found that swinging my arms from side to side allowed me to spin ever so slowly, Behind me, my surroundings were more of the same. White. Empty, blinding white. No floor, no ceiling, no sky, no horizon line. My breath began to quicken. I rubbed my eyes and opened them again, willing reality to make itself right again. I did this several times over, but each time I opened my eyes to an endless void. I was stuck. Next, I screamed for help. I called out for Jane, for Eliza, for my parents. I screamed until my lungs were tired and my throat felt like I was choking on razors. The sound barely traveled at all. The nothing just swallowed it up. When I could no longer scream, I began to cry quietly. I have no frame of reference for how long it had been at this point. It felt like hours, or maybe days. Gradually, I became aware of another sound. A distant, melodic whine. Each time it started up again, my eardrums pulsed uncomfortably. The closest way I can describe such a sonic experience is if you were to funnel 100 overlapping whale songs through a long, narrow tube pointed directly into a cavity of your ear. It was strangely beautiful. And too much. All at once. The void was singing to me. It got closer. I spun around in space, looking for the source. I could see only pure white. The call was almost percussive now, so powerfully rhythmic that I felt each wave ripple through my ribcage. Louder, louder, louder. Something was racing towards me at an incredible speed. Like a massive freighter tearing through ocean waters. I was nothing but a tiny swimmer in the path of its hull. Soon, it would crush me. The song swelled to a deafening roar. I tried to plug my ears, but the vibration was everywhere. It had found the resonant frequency of my bones. My brain jostled around in my skull. Every inch of my body felt like it was running through a tumbler while being pulled apart like taffy. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe. I just wanted it to be over. So I let it in. I prayed for the nothing to take me away. A Skyleap employee found me at the bottom of the foam pit several hours later. The park was closing by then. All the other guests had gone home. The arcade was dark and quiet. My parents were waiting at the edge as I was dragged out of my claustrophobic prison, gasping for air. That was the first time I'd seen my mother cry. My cousins were there too, staying behind to help with the search. They claimed that I'd wandered off while no one was looking. Years later, Jane admitted to me what she and Eliza had actually seen on that fateful day. It just didn't make sense, she told me. Our parents refused to believe the truth, but I know what I saw. You jumped, and then you didn't come down. We thought you were gone forever. One more detail about this recollection strikes me as bizarre. I had always been small for my age. My cousins stood about a head above me. After that day, and I swear this is true, I was the same height as them. For the first time in my childhood, we were eye to eye. Thank you so much for listening to my narration of this wonderful story. Don't forget to support the author, which I have linked in the description, as well as the original story. And I just want to give a quick shout out to my patrons, Scott, Old Penguin, Ellie Hutmeyer, Mr. Sankofa, Austin My Love, Rinku Star, William Hartley, Cupcake Hips, Alonzo, Icy Narrates, Jesse Hartley, Eric Cifuentes, Lawrence Wallen, and Melissa Perez. I also try to link a different charity or a different cause every month and maybe a little more. So don't forget to check out the description to support the author of the story you just listened to and to maybe help somebody else out, even if it's just $1. As always, if you guys have a prayer request, please let me know in the comments, shoot me a message on Discord. I would love to know how I can be praying for you. Thank you guys so much. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.